You know, as long as I can remember, there's been a long-standing argument about the putting stroke. Is it an arc or is it a pendulum where you go straight back or straight through? And people argue about this and get fighting mad about it. Well, in this video, we're going to answer that question. Which one is it? And not only that, I'm going to give you a tool that will help you have the absolute perfect putting stroke so you can roll the ball straight up the line every time. Let's go. So the argument has always been, should you take the putter straight back and straight through like a pendulum, or do you have a big arcing putting stroke? The problem with that is this. Obviously, it's easier to hit it straight up the line if you could. If you were a robot or a machine and you could simply keep the putter face square and roll it straight up the line, that would be perfect. The problem is the way that your shoulders work and move. It's impossible to go straight back and straight through like a pendulum. Your body arcs naturally. So a lot of people say, oh, you should have an arcing stroke. And the problem with that is when you try to arc the putter, what you get into is you're trying to do something that you already do naturally, which means you over or underdo it. You're thinking about something that you shouldn't have to think about because your body naturally does that. And so what happens is people get too much arc in their stroke. Think about it like this way. A door in a door jamb or a gate. If you're opening and closing, swinging your putter on a big arc like a gate, it's only perfectly square to that target line at one very small moment. It's only perfectly square when it's exactly perpendicular to the target line. But if you're swinging it like this, there's lots of range of motion in there. It's really easy to get off. And being off a tiny bit makes a huge difference. For example, I don't know if you can tell, but looking at this putter head, that is about 2 degrees offline. 2 degrees, you'll miss every putt 5 feet or more. Just that far open. Let's set down a ball. Look at it again. Right now, that putter face is about 1 degree open. And with 1 degree open, you're going to miss every putt 10 feet or longer. So if you're arcing it intentionally, then you have to be absolutely perfect in terms of timing and ball position and setup to be consistently square. That's a problem. So is it an arc or a pendulum? The answer is neither. And here's why. So if you're arcing the putter on purpose, you have to be absolutely perfect in setup, ball position, and stroke to get this square to the target line at impact. 1 degree off, you miss everything from 10 feet or more. 2 degrees off, you miss everything from 5 feet. And for most of you with the bare eye, you can't see 1 or 2 degrees. For instance, you think your putter face is flat. If you have a Honu, it's at 0. If you have most other putters, they're anywhere from 3 to 3.5 degrees of loft, and that looks flat to you. It's hard to see with your eye if you're off 1 or 2 degrees. Point is, if you're arcing on purpose, you're not going to be absolutely square to the target line. So that answers the question about is it an arc or a pendulum? It's neither one, because your body naturally arcs and it's physically impossible to swing it straight back and through like a pendulum. So what do you have to do? Well, here's the thing. I've learned a number of years ago, saw a study where they determined that the best putters on the PGA Tour, and they use super high-speed cameras and slow motion and laser and computer monitor measuring devices, and what they came up with is the guys who are the best putters on the tour are square to the target line for about 5 inches. So the 5 inches before impact, their putter face is square up the line. They were wildly inconsistent between various players in what happened after that. But in that 5-inch window, they were square. So that got me thinking for a long time, how can I get to the point where my putter face is square during that 5 inches before the ball? And that idea was roaming around in my head. Then I saw some research and some studies that said if you can roll the ball, you know, we've always heard that every putt is a 2-foot putt. In other words, you roll the ball straight. I can't use this like a pitcher in baseball or a tennis racket to catch the ball on the face and then roll it or spin it, make the ball curve. Putters don't work that way because there's no dwell time. The ball is on the face for a tiny one, like 365 1/100ths of a second, a tiny fraction of time. So I can't put any spin or make the ball curve. All I can do with this is hit the ball straight up the line wherever the face is pointed. And so because of that, everybody says, oh, every putt's a 3-foot putt or a 2-foot putt. You want to roll it straight for 2 or 3 feet and then let gravity and the break on the green take over. And that's true, but I saw some research and study that said what you have to do to be a very good, consistent putter is roll the ball straight off the face up your target line for 9 inches. And so that got me thinking, what can I do to make sure for the 5 inches before impact that my putter face is square to the target line and that I can roll the ball straight up that line for 9 inches? And here's what I came up with for that. I just went to the hardware store, got some materials, and made this, and it's 14 inches long. So I'm going to drop it down on the ground and show you how I use it. And it's the coolest thing. I put the ball on it, and I've got a red line there, if you can see, that's 5 inches from the end. And so what I want to do is work on taking my putter back and straight through for 5 inches. Then from that red line up to the front is 9 inches, and I want to roll the ball. I put a little dot there, which is a target for me, an intermediate point. You watch this channel, and you know I talk a whole lot about an intermediate target. That out in front of your ball, you should have an intermediate target that's in line with your ball and what you want to roll over. People always ask, invariably, when I talk about that in a video, someone will post a question in the comments, well, how far in front of you should your intermediate target be? This gives me the answer to that I'll use from now forever, 9 inches in front of your ball. Because if you can roll the ball over this dot, 9 inches out in front of you, the ball's going to go straight. It's a straight putt, and then gravity takes over and does its thing. Here's the cool thing about this. I set up, and I get my ball on this target line. That 9-inch dot is right here. I can see that in my peripheral vision. I don't have to move my head, do anything that alters my stroke. I can see it there. And all I want to do is roll the ball over that target. That gives me the perfect distance for that. After that, gravity is going to move the ball anyway. So I set up and then roll it over that target. So what I'm trying to do is keep my putter face square to that square line during this 5 inches, and then roll the ball over that dot that's 9 inches out. If I can do that, my putt will be on line always. Let's try that. How about that? It works. In fact, let's do another one just for fun. So I know if I'm square for that 5 inches and roll the ball over the dot in the front of the one-putt ruler, it's perfect every time. And then I go out on the course and I set up and I just imagine that's there, and I see this as an intermediate target. Think about that, what that does for you. That solves the problem of you don't have to think about arc or pendulum. It gives you You learn with this, you can use it in your living room, at home, in the cold weather, in the winter, at night, even when you don't have time to practice. You can keep it in your golf bag, take it out on the practice green with you and use it. It gives you the perfect putting stroke. You don't have to think about that. You just get that ingrained. Now all you got to do is aim at the right point. Oh, but guess what? This helps with that too. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. So if you look at the one putt ruler, it's showing me the line of the putt. It's aimed about right here, which is where I need to hit this putt for it to go in. So many people look at this putt and say, oh, it doesn't have much break, and they're going to put it in here, or oh, it has more breaking out here. And I see a lot of people who are really good golfers who will do this. I'm going to put the ball down beside the ruler. They'll look at this putt and they know it breaks right to left, and so they set up and they're square and I see people who are really good golfers do this, and they push it out to the side like that, and they miss these because they know it's breaking that way and they're thinking about that. This teaches me if I have to roll the ball over that dot, I can't push it outside. So this teaches me to roll it straight up the target line, and again, I'm pointed about here, and that's my target line, my aiming point for those of you who like those words. But it works. Teaches me that this putt needs to start at a target about here and let it break. Keeps me from trying to manipulate it with my hands and put it out here somewhere so I miss on the high side, or try to pound it straight in and miss on the low side. So work on using this. You can make one of your own. If you want one, I'll make you one. Send me an email. We don't have them available in the Wood Putt store. Send me an email. I'll make you one and send it to you for $15 in the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., $15 plus whatever it costs me to ship it to you. Not trying to make huge money on these, but if you want one, I'll do it for you that way. If we get lots of requests for them, then I'll start mass producing them and make them available in the One Putt Golf store. But in the meantime, figure out some way for you to take your putter back square and through square for 5 inches and hit an intermediate target out 9 inches in front of your ball. You'll roll it straight every single time. Then all you got to do is be on your target line and you'll make more putts. If you like making more putts, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And here's to you doing just that, making more putts.